slowing things down when I wanted to race. Pitching up again when it's trying to chase. It's like we're playing space. Always find a way to make up, right? Even when I was such a fly. Even when this is where I I'm stuffing up your makeup. Never enough, babe. Dreaming of those eyes. Best part of my life. Smiling cloud, babe. Would I make a sound? Clock on to run.
Stay in your lane. We are not the same. We cannot explain things about to change. Cause we run the game. Cause we run the game.
Howdy doody everybody, welcome back to another Make It Monday with me, your host Brandon Groce, and the amazing Ryan Schaefer. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am excelente. Guys, as you know, all right, there's no purple background today because you guys know the situation, Airbnb, yada yada. If you guys are in the community, you already know. We'll be back to normalcy in about 2-3 weeks. But we're not here to talk about my emotional trauma for the last month. We're here to talk about the awesomeness Ryan is going to bring to the table today on another Monday. So, Ryan, what do we have for the family, the Wix family today? What are we building?
Today we are going to be building an e-commerce website, and I'm going to be showing you how to optimize building sections inside of Wix Studio to accomplish this.
Wonderful. Awesome, my friend. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are in the chat, let us know how you feeling, how you doing. Say hi. We'd love to know how you guys are doing, where you guys are coming from, and also, as Ryan is going through what we're doing today, how to optimize and efficiently build the website that he's building today in front of us. Feel free to ask questions. Stop us when you guys get confused. Stop. You have an immaculate question that just gets downloaded from the universe and you want to inquire. So do all those things. And also I want to say hi to Nina in the chat and the rest of you. All right. So I'm going to go over and hop over to your screen, Ryan. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, just so I don't get or forget the house cleaning items we have for today. If you guys are new to Make It Monday, we are here on this channel every Monday at 1 p.m. EST with Ryan and other amazing co-hosts to make something new and cool in Wix Studio each and every month. Or excuse me, every Monday, but also here every month. Other than that, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about Wix Studio, join our amazing community brought to you by Wix Studio. You guys can go to the description down below and go to our new community called New Form. Other than that, you guys can also follow along with the awesome assets Ryan is going to be using in today's session, also down in the description. And do not forget to follow Ryan as well. His information is also down there. All right, Ryan, go into your screen. Let's get started.
Sounds good. Okay, so here is the website that we're going to be building in today's video. And at the very top, we just have a nice big hero section. Below that, we have a way for our users to select different categories. Then there's like maybe specific products that you want to list, 3 key points of your business, a way or a testimonial section, and then a call to action section. So to build this here in Wix Studio, I want to build 2 main sections that we're going to be using for that entire page. But before we do that, one way to optimize optimize your efficiency when building Wix Studio, some of you may already know this, but is set up your site styles over here. It's going to be this little icon. We can set up our typography and we can set up our colors as well. For example, if we just add a heading 1, we'll just drag out a title. Right now, by default, it is set to the font styling of heading 2. So if we come over to site styles, go to typography, we'll see that this is our site style right now. It's the Wix made for font at 42 pixels. So when we select this text element, we will see it's 42 pixels and it's Wix made for display bold. So if we're going to optimize efficiency, what we're going to want to do is actually set these up manually. So I think for the design that you just saw, we were using Montserrat Bold for a lot of the heading text. Now, I will admit I don't always set up the size here, but I will say that's typically recommended. Um, it might be something where I set up the size later on when I'm done with the design. For example, if I'm going from Figma to Wix Studio and I already know in Figma the font sizes, then I will set up the font sizes here immediately. But I'll be honest, when I made this, I did use Figma, but I did just kind of wing a lot of it as well. So I don't even remember what font sizes I used, to be honest. But what we're going to do is just set a lot of these heading fonts to Montserrat Bold. And then for the paragraph text, I believe I set this one to Montserrat Regular. And for heading 5, I want to set this to like Montserrat Medium. And to save time, I'm not going to do all of them, but I would recommend you do all of them. Just so in case you use a heading 4 somewhere on your website, even if it's not the home page or another page, you want to make sure that all of your fonts are consistently the same and you don't have like any mixed matched fonts. The second thing we're going to do is come over to color, and we're going to adjust this one right here. For this color, I used the color from the logo. So what I'm going to do is actually use the color picker here in Wix Studio. So what we're going to do is come over to Tools. We can go to Editor Add-ons and get Add-ons. And right here we have color selection. So let's go ahead and add that. Now we have this little widget here, and we can press select color, and we can just grab this color right here. We can copy it very easily just by selecting it. And now when we head on over to our site styles, we can select this color here, or there we go.
And that's actually, sorry, my bad, man. Is that a new plugin, or am I just behind?
I believe that's been in there since they announced it, from my understanding.
You make me look bad, Ryan. Well, no. See, this is why you're on screen with me. I'm the talker. You are also the talker, but you're the person that brings us into, hey, guys, by the way, this has been here since yada yada. But I really love how you're kind of like...
But it is hidden. It is hidden, so a lot of people may not know about it. I will say that.
Yeah.
But these add-ons have like a bunch of different tools that I think a lot of people would like. Like there's color selection. You can do a colorblind simulator, so you can check if your design still works for people with different colorblind attributes, I guess. I don't know. Or with color blindness, I should have said. Contrast checker. You can add design guides, a focus timer, get colors from images. You can look at the keyboard shortcuts and even create a task list. So these are really cool like little plugins that we have built into Wix Studio. But we did just use the color picker to grab this little pink right here from the logo. So in the site styles, under colors, we can edit this action color, and we can just paste in that little hex code that we got. And now anytime we add, let's say like a styled or a button, I don't know if this one actually will work in this case. Let me check. No, this one didn't work. But let's say we add the blog, or let's say we add like a Wix app. They will always use the site styles colors and your typography, unless you manually change it. But if you want it to be automatic and not have to go in and manually change everything, setting up your site styles is a great way to do that. Okay, so now we have our site styles basically complete. And now what I want to do is build kind of like a template section, for example. So to do this, with this first section here, I'm going to add, let's say, 10% padding on the left and the right. and then I'll add 5% padding on the bottom and the top. So now we should have a section that looks like this. Inside of this section, I'm just going to add a very simple container. So I'm going to go to quick add container. I'm going to stretch it. And for the corners, I'm just going to round the edges to like 64. I will say, I think this color is a little bit too dark. So again, in the site themes, I can easily adjust this and make this section a little bit lighter. There we go. And we can apply that. And you'll see that it automatically adjusted it here on the page for us as well, which is really nice. And then if we wanted to, we could also, since this will be a template section, we can head on down to tablet and maybe we can adjust it a little bit. Like for me on tablet and mobile, there's less real estate for the design. So I like to take advantage of that a little bit more. So I don't like to have as much padding on the left and right. So maybe for tablet and mobile, we set both of these down to 5. So something like this. And I think that looks pretty clean. And because I almost said Editor X, but Wix Studio cascades downwards, we should go to mobile and it should still be 5% padding on all sides. Perfect. So let's go back up to desktop. And now what I want to do is we kind of have 2 ways to go about this. The first way is we can right click and save this as an asset. So we can name this asset as, let's just call this big container. And we can either just save this to our normal everyday use assets, or if this is like a client website or something, we can create a library for that client. So we'll just client example, and we can save this asset to their library, and we can always use it on their website. Another way to do this, and to be honest, this is the way I typically do it, just because it's easier for me, even though this might seem harder or seem more tedious to most, is I actually can save this as a global section. So I can save this as a global section, and I can call this like big container template. And now I have this template here as a master section. So if I wanted to add another one of these to the page, what I would do is, let's just go ahead and remove this from the page temporarily. Well, let's say I wanted to add this template section to the page. What I would do is come over to my master global section. I'll say add to page, and then I will right click and I will say detach from global section. So now I have a normal section and I can edit this completely freely from the master or global section. But I will say for most people, you can just go up to your saved assets. We have the client example library that we just created, and we can easily just add one of these here like this. So there's 2 ways to do it. Whichever way is easiest for you guys, just go with that route. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the next template section that we're going to create. I'm going to add a section here. Let's make this like 6, I'll do 700 pixels for now. I want to follow the same margin or padding that we added to the top one. Which, to be honest, we could just copy and paste this right here, delete the section inside of it, and we still have that padding for us, and we can just up this to 700 pixels. Oops. Looks like there was a technical issue, so I might have to refresh real quick.
A hard refresh always makes it work. And so while we're actually waiting here, this is a good time to kind of ask a few questions. Have you had any challenges with cascading as of recent in Wix Studio? Whether it be text?
Personally, no. I find it I mean, it works for everything I've tried to do.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I love using responsive AI as well. um, I will say, like, it's still in beta, so it's not the best, but it does like a majority of the work for you, and you just have to go in and tweak it. And I find that to be super useful.
Let's rephrase. It's the best. You just gotta do a little work because it's in beta.
There you go. There you go.
PR course 1-on-1. No, I'm playing. Yeah, it's as Ryan said, it is in the works. There are some kinks, but as you guys play with it, as we say, because our Wix community is part of Wix, definitely just let us know. We'll bring it back to Wix because there's different things that are, because they're trying to. I think there's updates every day. You know, even when we worked with Adobe, like they in XD, they did updates every 2 weeks, what I thought was a lot. But Wix Studio, they have something updating every day. That's a little crazy. So the more we use it, the more it messes up, the better it will be for us in the long term. It's still a baby. I don't think any other platform has AI responsiveness to this degree, and it's still early. It's not even,
especially from day one. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
exactly.
But yeah, for this template, I want to use cells. So I want to kind of split this into 2 rows, something like this. And I also want to give us like a 5 VW vertical gap here, just so we have a little bit of spacing in between the sections. In this top section here, I just want to add a little title. And I want to set the responsive behavior from scale proportionately to hug. And that's going to get rid of all of this extra space by the text here. So it's just going to basically wrap it to the text or cut off all the extra space. And then for this, I'm just going to send it to the left and middle of this cell. And also, I want to add a button over here on the right hand side. So if I grab this cell right here, I can split this vertically, just like that, and it adds another cell inside of the cell. So it's really, really useful. And I'm just going to kind of position this like over here, because the button realistically is not going to take up too much space. So we're just going to place the button over here. Now for this, I just want it to be our accent color. I want the corners to be fully rounded, so I'm going to set the radius to 999. And then for the text, I am going to change this to a Montserrat bold font. Perfect. And then you would also want to make sure you did the hover state, but for today's video, we'll just go ahead and skip that part for now. But with this cell, I now want to move this cell up. So I grabbed the space in between the cell, and I just moved it up. And then for this cell down here, all I want to add is a repeater. So we'll grab this repeater, we'll stretch it, and this is going to be our next template section. So once again, I'm going to save this as an asset. We'll call this repeater, and we'll put it in our client example library. Sorry about that.
You can't cough on stream, Ryan. It's horrible. It's illegal. No.
Okay, so now we have both of our template sections here. If we take a look at this design, every single section basically either has the repeater section or it has the container section inside of it. So it's going to help us build it fairly quickly. For this one right up here, let's start by building like the hero section. So for this one, let's add our background image, or an image to the background. So I'll go to media, and I believe it is, which one is it? Oh, this one right here. And all I'm going to do is send this to the left and middle. Perfect. And then let's add some text here. So let's grab a heading 1, because you're always going to want a heading 1 here on the hero section of every page. And for this, I said organic and or organic and effective makeup. I'm not good at spelling today, but all good.
It's all good, man. We're in the world of AI. We should just be able to breathe to an AI and understand what it is we meant.
Exactly. I'm going to set the max size to like, let's say like 56. Let's do like 64. I'm trying to find a good size for this. Maybe we'll go down to 56. We'll see what that does. Okay, I like this. Kind of place this right about here. Again, I'm going to set the responsive behavior from scale proportionately to hug. And then we can just add a or wrap this text manually. Above that, let's add like a heading 6. For this heading 6, it's gonna be all caps, skincare products. I believe I set this to 13 pixels, and I don't want it to ever get smaller than this. So we're gonna set the minimum value to 13 pixels as well. We'll change the responsive behavior to hug, and we'll change the color to our accent color. And we'll place this right above our main heading 1 text. And last but not least, I'm going to grab our button from our little template section. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to change this text to say shop now. And I'll place this right under our heading 1 text. Using my shift key on the keyboard, I'm going to grab all 3 of these items and I'm going to stack them. And this is going to be the hero section.
All right, before we move on though, let's because we had to take clips from this later. Let's effective EFFE.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'll fix that.
All right. There we go.
Cool. For this next section, for this one, we're going to create a wave, or we're going to have this be a repeater with a bunch of different categories inside of it. So I want this text to say browse by category. There we go. And this text as well is going to say shop now. Perfect. For this repeater, if I grab the repeater, come down here, I think there's going to be 8 items per row. So we're going to set the number of items per row to be 8. And we can just add items until it fills up, or until we have 8 items. In between this, I believe I did 24 pixels of spacing in between. And inside of this, if we grab the item itself for the corners, let's go ahead and round the edges. Let's see what 24 looks like. I think that looks pretty clean. Okay. Inside of this item, I want to add an icon and a very small text. So let's start with the icon. We'll come over to media and we'll just grab this one right here. Now, I will say, typically for these icons, I leave them as a fixed size. So I don't want them to scale up too big or too small. So I like to manually adjust the size on different breakpoints. So I will set this to a fixed responsiveness, and we will do like 32 pixels for now. And then we will place this inside of the item. Maybe that's still a little bit too small. So maybe we can do like 42. I think that looks pretty good. Perfect. Then inside of this, let's add a heading 6 font. We're going to set this to hug. We're going to set the size to 13, and we'll set the minimum to 13 as well. And then we can place this text right underneath the icon. we can shift click and use the icon, or actually the heading 6 did not get put in the item. So we'll just move it and make sure it does attach properly, perfect. Then we'll use our shift key, grab both of these and stack them together. For this stack, let's do like 20% padding or margin on the top, and we'll do 20% on the bottom, just like that. And then we'll grab the item itself, and we need to make sure that we remove the height from this. And then we also need to grab the section itself and just bring it up so it looks like this. I think that looks pretty good. And now the easy part is we can just go through and change out all of the little icons and text here.
And again, guys, all this stuff that he has on screen in the description down below. And I missed that last part, Ryan. Did you set the item container to hug so that it actually morphed to the size of the icons and the heading?
No, I just grabbed the
Or you
item
just pulled it?
and I changed the height to 0. And then I grabbed the section itself, and then I moved this up. And then it basically just snaps to the minimum height it can be.
Got it.
Yeah.
See, guys, Ryan's just too genius. He's just like, obviously. But in that obviously, there's like a million things. No, this is why you're here, Ryan.
And that's why you're here too. You're helping me like explain things better, because I do tend to like fly by things a little too quickly sometimes. So if I do
That's
that,
good.
don't hesitate to leave questions or tell Brandon to reach out. I do that all the time.
It's teamwork, man. Both sides of the coin are needed.
Exactly. Okay. So now we got all the icons changed. Now I'm just going to change the text really quickly. And you'll notice down there, as I'm changing the text, the font, or the text element, I should say, is aligned to the left. So that's something I need to change here. Okay, so to change that, it's not too difficult. All you need to do is grab the stack, and under layout you'll see align items. You can just do to the center, and it'll do that. Another option is if you grab the text element itself, you can just use this align to horizontal center. There's 2 ways to go about it. It's pretty easy. For the next section that we're going to build, it's going to be a way for users to select some of your featured products. So what I'm going to do is come over to add. We'll do assets. We'll go to our client library here, and we're going to want the repeater item. So what we're going to do is just click this. It's going to drag it out onto the page. It did put it above our category section. So what we're going to want to do is grab this section, open up the layers panel, and just drag it right underneath. And it easily reorders our web page. And for this text, we're just going to say explore our products. Oh my god, I'm moving too fast. Okay. And once again, this button can say shop now, or if you don't want to have a button in this particular section, you could also just remove it and have a section that's a little bit different here as well. Even though this is a template section, they don't all have to look the same. That's something, I feel like that's a good note to make as well here. For this repeater though, we want 4 items. We want 4 items per row as well. So with the repeater selected, Go to number of items, set this to 4. For the spacing here, I believe I set this to 42. And I'm also going to add that to the bottom one as well, because typically you're not just going to have show 4 products. You're typically going to connect this to your CMS or something, and you might show more than just 4 products. So you're going to want to make sure that if there are more than 4 products and you have some on top and the bottom or a second row of products, that the spacing is consistent. But for this repeater item itself, I'm going to remove the background color. I'm going to go to Layout, Advanced CSS Grid, and press Apply. And I'm going to set this to 2 rows, so 1 column, 2 rows, just like that. And what I want for this top section is it to be like a complete square. So what I'm going to do is grab this column here, and under the min and max value here, what I want to do is set this to a viewport height. And you'll notice that it says 17.5 VW. So what I'm going to do is send that back to auto. But now what I want to do is come to the row here, and I want to set this to 17.5 VW. And we'll just do that for the max as well. And you'll notice now the top row here in our item is a perfect square, and it's going to be responsive as well. For this, I do want to add a container inside of it, and then we're going to stretch it. For the background color, we're going to leave it as this. For the corners, I want them to be a little bit rounded. So I think I chose like 48 here, potentially. I think that looks pretty good. And then inside of this, I want to have like 2 images. So in the images that I provided to you guys, I believe you guys should see it. I think I forgot to upload them here. So I need to grab those real quick. I apologize. I thought they were here. I need to. But you guys should see that there is one called Shadow, or Product Shadow, and then a product itself. Let me see. I apologize.
All is good, man. I was just looking at the chat really quick. Isaac was saying he can't wait till the future content that we're planning for like just January, December, or December, January. Some of the stuff that we've been talking about doing, maybe not even a full site walkthrough, but like your approach to very interesting, kind of what we've been talking about. What is it? I forgot what we called it off screen. But the dribble remakes, essentially. What are some really cool things that we can make without a super full walkthrough, but just how you would approach something like that. And because my brain was on the chat, what is the so what is there's a technical thing going down? What's happening, Ryan? Clue me in. Sorry, I apologize.
I had to find the images again.
I see.
I apologize.
It's all good. You could have just used my face, man. It'd have worked. I think possibly for the time being. Just screenshot either me or you, whichever you feel like is more fitting.
But yeah, we are planning to do like some like Figma designs here pretty soon for sure. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to those. Those will be really fun. But now that we have the product's images here, there's one called Product Shadow. So what we're going to do is add this. We're going to resize this, and we'll drag this into our container here, and we'll stretch it. And then let's add another image here. We'll just add a product image. We'll place this here and we will stretch it as well. So now we have 4 different products or the product images here. One thing I do want to make sure of though is that our shadow is behind the product image because I don't want that to ever be in the front of any of our products. And then down below, I want to add some text elements. So let's go ahead and do that. I think I chose like a heading 6 for these down here. Once again, we're going to set the response behavior to hug. We'll send this to the left and we'll send it to the top. And this is going to be the product name. And then below that, we are going to want to have not a button, but some text. Let's see. Grab this. And this is going to be like the price, like $40 or something. And we can make this a little bit smaller as well. Maybe instead of 22 pixels, we can set this to like 16. We'll put this right underneath our product name text. We'll stack these together. And I will just go ahead and change these. So this one can be like product 1. This one can be product 2. Oops. And then let's go ahead and change the price. This one can be 35. Oops. This one can be like 60. And this one can be 55. Okay. And now let's just go ahead and change out the product images real quick. Grab this one. This one and this one. Okay. So similar to what we did with this one over here. Now what we want to do, or actually before we do that, I do want to have a little space between our rows here. So let's add like 24 pixels of space. And then if we select or click on the pixel, we can switch this over to a responsive value. And now with this item, we can remove the height. So we can just set it to 0. And then we can grab the bottom of this section and move it up. And I will say that did remove the height from the column. So if we come back over to our repeater, go to row, we will need to add that 17.5 VW back to the top row, which I didn't do that. There we go. 17.5 VW. Okay.
And how do you know it to be 17 VW specifically? Like, is that just something you played around with and made the? Oh, you did. Ryan, I'm I'm not tracking with you, brother.
You're good. You're good.
I'm in our land and the chat's land.
It's a really good technique. But what I did was I grabbed the width of this column here. So to do that, I switched it from auto to VW, and it told me it was 17.5.
Got it.
And then I switched it back, and then I went to the row itself, and then I applied that 17.5.
Makes sense. Okay. Easy peasy. I thought it was some other way. I was like, wait, hold on. Why is there 17? But you just grabbed it. Okay. And we've done this in several other Make It Mondays. All right. We're tracking. Sometimes I get a little lost, right? It's hard out here, guys. Today I have one computer screen. I'm trying to look at Ryan's face screen, the chat all in one small 16-inch laptop.
I accidentally applied it to the bottom one. Didn't mean to do that. There we go.
There we go.
But this is going to be this section. The next section is going to be similar. It's going to be the repeater section again, but it's going to look different. So to do that, let's go up to our assets. So add assets, client library. we'll add this repeater item or repeater section. We're going to want this section to be at the bottom, so we'll just drag it down again. For this, I don't even want this cell at all, so we can just delete it completely. For this cell right here, let's give it a little bit of space temporarily. And then let's grab this text and center it. And we're just going to change this text to why people choose us. And above this text, I do want to add like a heading 6 element, similar to what we had up here. So let's just grab this text and copy it. And we'll paste it down here. And we'll place it right about here. And we'll change this to why us. Then we can grab both of these, stack these together. We can send it to the top, and then we can adjust the space again and move this back up. Just so we could, we only adjusted the height of this so we could add things, and then we brought it back up. Another good thing to save as assets is like stacks that you plan to use often. So for example, if you wanted to use something like this on multiple pages, you could save this as an asset and use this on multiple pages. And same with this stack as well. So if you plan to have more text or more stacks similar to this, we've already gone through the process of styling it. So it's easier to add this asset later on than creating it from scratch every single time. But for this repeater, let's remove the background color. And inside of this, I just want to have like a container that's going to hold an icon. So we'll grab this container. I believe we set the size of this to fixed. And let's make this like 42 and 42 for now. And we'll center it and send it to the top. Maybe we can do like 64 and 64 because we still need room for the icon itself. And then for the corners, let's go ahead and round these. So we'll set it to 999. It'll make a nice circle for us. And inside, let's add our little icons here. For this one, I chose this one right here. So we'll make this pretty small. We'll make this one 32 by 32, and then we'll set it to fixed. And then let's move this into our container here. For this one over here, this one's going to be our customer service. So we'll grab like a profile. And then last but not least, for this one, it's going to be high quality. So I think I chose like a little star icon. Perfect. Underneath that, or underneath this little container, let's add like a heading 6 or a heading 5. Once again, we'll set it to hug, we'll center it, and we'll move it up underneath. I will say for this one in particular, I do want it to be pretty small, so maybe we'll do like 22 pixels. And then underneath that, we'll have like a little paragraph text. So with this paragraph text, let's place it right about here. We want the text to be aligned to the center. And I believe for this text, I set it to 13 pixels, just so it's a little bit smaller. And then we'll place it right underneath the heading. And then we'll grab all 3 of these elements and we'll stack them together. So for this one over here, it's going to say easy returns. This one's going to say customer service. And high quality. And then once again, we can grab the repeater item. We'll remove the height. Then we'll grab the section and we'll remove the height here as well. Perfect. The next 2 sections are going to be using the other template section that we built. which is similar to this one over here. So for this one, we're going to go up to Add. We're going to go to Assets, and we'll choose the big container. Once again, let's move this to the bottom of the page, but above the footer. There we go. And for this one, I want the background color to be white, but I want the border to be like this pink. We'll make it like 2 pixels in width, and the corners we'll leave it at 64. For this container, we also want to add some padding. So let's add like, let's see what 5% does. I think that's a little, or not enough, so I'll try like 7.5. I think that looks pretty good, so we'll go ahead and apply that to all sides. And I do want this section to be quite a bit bigger. Okay, so we'll just drag it down a little bit. And then I do also want to kind of split this in half. So we have 2 columns. So we'll add a CSS grid, and we'll just split it pretty right down the middle. And for the gap, we'll just add a 5 VW gap. Something that looks like this, looks pretty clean. And I will say for the padding, I think I do want to go back down to 5 just so it matches our spacing in between our items. So we'll change this to 5 and we'll apply it to all sides. Inside of this left column, I want to add an image. We'll go ahead and stretch it. For the corners, I want to set it to 32. The parent container has a corner radius of 64. So I want the inside one to be like basically half of that, because if I set the inside one to match the outside one, I will say it just kind of looks a little goofy. But if we change it to 32, it looks pretty clean in my opinion. Let's just quickly go ahead and change the image out real quick. We'll just do like makeup, and we'll just choose this one for now. Over here on the right column, I want to add the testimonial and the person's name and maybe like a little quote icon. So for the quote icon, I believe I just used one from Wix. So what we're going to do is come over to add. We'll do a quick add and we'll just do like a little shape. Let's press change basic shape and let's type in quote. And we don't really have the one that we want, so I can easily press view all results. And let's choose this one right here. For the color, let's change this to like a pink. Let's resize it a little bit, and then we'll send it to the top left of this container, or of this column. For the actual testimonial part of this, we'll go ahead and drag out a paragraph text. We'll center it, and I want this to be kind of large. So we'll stretch it, and we'll set the font size to like, let's try 32. I think 32 looks pretty good. And then I want to add a one more title paragraph or title element. I don't want this to be bold, though. I do want this one to be medium. And I don't want it to be this big either. So we'll do like 24 pixels. Actually, bold would actually work here. Okay, there we go. And we'll place this at the bottom. This is going to be like the person's name. And this will be their review. What I do want to do though is I want to grab both this quote element here and the actual testimonial itself. We'll grab both of these and we will stack them together. Now what I want to do is with the stack, I do want to apply like let's do like a 20% margin to the bottom. And the reason we want to do that is because if this review is like really long, we don't want it to hide the person's name. So if I grab this stack and I remove the margin here, you'll see the person's name gets stuck behind the paragraph or their review. So by adding the margin, it's always going to make sure that we have space in between this person's name and what they're actually saying. But I'm just going to shorten the review again. But this is going to be the review section here. And then the last section that we're going to be build is like a call to action. So maybe this will be like an email sign up form or of some sort. So once again, we'll go to our assets, we'll grab the big container. We're going to want to make sure that we move this underneath the next section. And for this one, it is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to grab this stack right here, move it down here and paste it. And for this text right here, we can say save 10% on first order. And then this can say sign up to our newsletter. And we're also going to want to make sure that we center this text in here. Perfect. We want to make sure that the whole stack is centered. We'll move it up a little bit. And underneath that, we are going to want to have a form. But I think I'm just going to do inputs for time because I still want to have time for questions. So I'm just going to do inputs. So in order to see inputs in our add panel, because if I go to add, you'll see that we don't have inputs here. So if we go to the code area and press start coding, it's going to give us access to the inputs. So now when we go back over to add, we'll have a new option here for inputs, and we'll just drag this out onto the page. For the settings here, I want to remove the field title. And under placeholder, I want to type in your email. There we go. And for the button, we will just use a button from up here. I do want to style this input a little bit more. So for the height of this button, we see it's 42. So I want to grab this input and match that. So we'll set the height to 42. Place them side by side. For the design of this, we'll just design the regular state. I want the background to be white. I want the border to be non-existent, so we'll just set the opacity and width to 0. For the corners, we want it to be fully rounded, so we'll set the radius to 999. And then for the text, we'll come down to placeholder, and we'll set this to like a dark gray, and we'll make sure that it's like Montserrat regular. And I believe if we come over here into layouts, we can adjust the spacing of the placeholder text a little bit, and I think that looks a little bit cleaner. And now with that design complete, we can stack these together. We can make sure it is centered. We can move it underneath this newsletter, and we can grab this stack and press add to stack. And we'll see that we have margin on the top. So it's 7% margin. I think that spacing looks pretty good. So I'm going to add 7% margin to the bottom. And now when I grab the section and remove the height, we will have equal spacing on the top and the bottom. But there we go. This is going to be the web page for an e-commerce website.
Beautifully done, Ryan. As always, with just few minutes to spare as well. The sweat was rolling down. No, I'm playing. You did beautifully, brother. Really quick, because this is a question from me directly, moi. How did you connect the input field with that external button that's not part of the input? Is that...
I will say, going this route will require code to make it work, or connecting it to CMS. If I had more time, we would be able to come over to contact form, and we'll create a full form.
Got it.
and be able to design it that way. But to save time, I did go like the more coding route, I guess.
It's totally fine, man. You did beautifully. The only reason I asked that is so that the community, those watching, also know that there's more steps. If taken this last approach, there's a little bit more. There's input forms that you can just pull right out of the hat and that work immediately. But your design choice in this specific example, there are a few more steps. And if you guys want to actually know how to do that, feel free to hit up Ryan if you so choose, or you guys can just come to our community every Tuesday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST. We go over these things that you guys get confused about and or you want to inquire more about in regards to what you learn here every Monday on Make It Mondays. So Ryan, do you have anything else in regards to, let's do one more, let's scroll to the top and let's do one last, let's scroll through. I love it. Or actually, can we preview?
Yeah, I was going to.
Can we hit
preview?
Yeah.
And we might have to wait for the little coding thing to pop up.
It's all good.
Okay, it doesn't look like it's doing it. Okay.
Looks good, man. Although I thought we had agreed on my face because, you know, this is our collective makeup organic brand, man. But you decided to use my cousin instead. It's okay. She looks better. She's a little older. She looks better. All right. Well, guys, if you have any questions, feel free. We have about 3 minutes here. But if not, I want to say thank you again to Ryan again for another amazing day on Make It Monday. I want to give you guys a little bit of some updates here because holidays are coming up, things of that nature. We have things in the community. We still have our town hall tomorrow. It will be in the Discord, 1 p.m. EST, to answer any and all of your Wix Studio questions. Other than that, we also have, I think we are postponing our design and chat this week, but the next week we should be good for our Monday, Make It Monday, our Tuesday, Wednesday. But just look into the announcements in our Discord about what's happening because this is holiday season. We got Thanksgiving coming up. We got the winter holidays coming up in December. And we also have New Year's. A lot of people like to sleep, a little bit of hibernation, but most importantly, friends and family. So I just want to give you guys those updates. If you want updates, we don't do them live here. They'll be in the announcements, and also check the newsletter from us each and every week. So let me see. Jake is asking, taking a peek and look at the chat here. Any connecting to make things interactive or anything like that in this breakdown? Oh, Jake, can you what's it called? If you can your question, I'm not reading it right. Any connecting to make things interactive or anything like that in this breakdown? I'm assuming your question is, are we going to go through anything in this example today to make things interactive? Not today. However, I'll also, if you guys are if you jump into the community and in general, ask your question again, or just go to ask a question. We did have last week, or you can just go on the YouTube channel. Last week we did loop interactions, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan. So if you literally go to our YouTube channel, you go to live streams, and you just look at the last live stream from last week, anything interactive that you want to kind of get your hands on is going to be in that. But we'll have more interaction things. Yeah.
I think he might mean like CMS connections, maybe. Is that what he's talking about?
He did ask about that a little bit as well.
Oh, okay.
CMS connections, we're not going to do that today. Speech to text, I do it all the time. I understand. No worries. CMS stuff and interaction stuff, we're not specifically today. We just want to, the main thing that Ryan wanted to showcase today is how to effectively build a website. And I think just to in Wix, and I think just to put the cherry on top of what we kind of went through today, Ryan starting with his stylescape, or what is the correct word, Ryan? What is the actual functionality? It's like the styles.
Wireframe, I guess, or template.
Well, you worked in this way. We started out building the website today in basically two forms. You start off with starting with your styles. What is H1? What is H2? What are your H3s? What are your colors? And then from that, he started making his section templates. And from there, after making those three things, those three decisions, his fonts, size, headings, body, H1s, H2s, his Ps, his paragraph styles, moving to what is each section going to have? What are the margins on the side? What are the margins on top and bottom? What is the style of each section? He basically made a template for each thing so that he could just copy paste, and very easily in just an hour, without me talking, it would probably have been 30. But with with just doing those three things, he could seamlessly create a structured Wix website in little to no time, versus kind of starting with one section, then making decisions, then going to section 2, making some more decisions. He started off with what is the style of the website? Awesome. Got the text down, got the colors down, got the styling, spacing down. Great. Now let's make section after section after section with those rules. So that's what today's episode was about. We probably could have I probably could have broke that down, Ryan and I, in the beginning to let you guys know what this episode was about, but it's how to effectively build out a website with specific rules so you don't have to think as much as you're building the website.
Right.
Exactly. Klein, structure. Awesome. Thank you guys. Or not Klein, Isaac. We had 2 Isaacs today. All right, Ryan, any closing words for us, my friend?
I appreciate everyone hanging out and watching this. If you want to learn more about Wix Studio, there's a link in the description to the Wix Fix channel as well.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Again, closing thing. If you guys have any other questions, for example, Jake, you want more about CMS, you want more about interactions, again, we have a plethora of live streams that we have had in the past and we'll have in the future. If you guys want to let us know future content that you would like to see, please join the community. We have a place for you to actually, whether it's in the general chat or we have a content section where you can suggest things that you want to see in the future. We have that so you guys can get and learn exactly what you came to pick up. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the community. Links down in the description. If you want to play around with what you saw here today, links for that and the assets are also in the description. Other than that, me and Ryan will see you guys in the community and on the internet. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Group is left to rise, moves like crazy. Everybody's trying to stimulate it. Spiders in the mirror and films can be right. Back to the skin of a